my shorts on that box over there. I'll edit that out. I was working outside in 15-degree weather today for nearly 4 hours. Wore me out. Heavily bundled up, and yet I still froze to death. I don't know about you, but I can't stand cold weather. I'm going to talk about the true applications of the ether. I know people think that, well, live stream and videos, a lot of lip flapping and theoretical speculation about the ether. But theory is just theory. Lip flapping is just lip flapping. Outside of these videos, I'm not talking 99.99% of the day. I'm in deep thought, building things, fixing things. I think I had to wash my hands 20 times today from working outside in the cold. Same is true of the ether. Genuine, actual applications. I'm going to talk about manifesting. By the way, I have no interest in New Age hooey. Yeah? Crystal rubbing levels of nonsense. On an invitation, I was at a New Age convention once, like maybe 15 or 20 years ago. It's like, whoa, there's a lot of woo-woo here. So this is not that. Talk about sympathetic resonance, constructive and destructive interference, and actual manifesting. Here's something neat. Now, you can't get anything like, oh, I want to date with Cindy Crawford. If I think about it, it's not going to happen. Simplex things that are within the realm of possibility. I'd like to walk on Mars. That's not really within the realm of likelihood for you or me or anybody else. But things that are possible. We'll say, well, dream big, things will happen. This video is not really about manifesting, but manifesting does work. This is something you should try. And this is also, too, the reason why prayer works. If you just actually utter the words, it's meaningless. You're not doing anything as far as sympathetic resonance for manifesting. Manifesting is real. I talked about a few books. This is not just about manifesting. This video is not about that. But you think about something as if you've already got it. I really want a low friction, super cool gyroscope. This is well within the realm of possibility. I actually did that in thinking about one of these. I wanted a real low friction one. I got one as a gift without asking for it from somebody. This is that. It's made in England. Actually, if you think about something and you truly mean it, as if you've already got it, thanking the universe for 18 seconds. I say 18 seconds, but I mean there's no set limit between 15 or 20, whatever seconds. A few times a week, in a short period of time, believe it or not, and it sounds like, well, that'll never work. Anybody that hears that, what I just said, 100% of you would think that it wouldn't work, but it actually does. What if I told you that atomism is easily the most destructive thing, and I'm not talking about theories and books, and by the way, there's only ever been two foundations, and I've said this a million times, of the picture of the universe. One's been based on, I call it the cult of bumping particles, i.e. atomism, this crazy idea of warped space-time, and the other one's been based upon the ether. All the geniuses of the universe, Tesla, etc., on down the line, Dollard, Walter, on and on. It's the ether. That's the only thing that could rationally explain this universe. In atomism, everybody's isolated and alone. Well, I'm over here and you're over here. You're rich, I'm poor, I'm miserable, you're happy. The twain shall not meet. The interconnectivity of everything is so absolutely stunning. It even blows my mind, and I've accepted it. And acceptance is nothing. Acceptance is just a fancy way of saying belief. The truth of it and the interconnectivity of everything is so absolutely amazing. It's just mind-blowing. So, secrets of the actual ether to improve your life. It's true that there are different frequencies of thought. If you actually make yourself miserable, you'll make yourself more miserable. Things not only compound, they become multiplicative. Instead of additive, 1 and 1 and 1 was additive, you're talking about 2 times 2 times 2. I mean, things quickly get out of control. If you look deeply enough into the abyss will look deeply into you, and it'll actually drag you in. The secrets of the ether to improve your life are really simple. The hairy armpit chick, and of course there's not actual Mother Nature, is so simple and so divine and so awe-inspiring, and it absolutely blows my mind when I think about it and the interconnectivity of everything. like water, the universal antenna of life. Well, it's just two hydrogen atoms and an oxygen atom. It's this specific geometry, by the way. This specific geometry is the same geometry that's tattooed on the backside of my hand, and this specific geometry in triplicate makes up the Pythagorean pentagram. There is no memory in the water molecule. There is no signal in the antenna. Talk about sympathetic resonance. I built at least 100 antennas in my life. Hand soldered them, built them, Yagi antennas, disc cone antennas, dipole antennas. You can take the same piece of wire. This is practicality. I don't care about New Age woo-woo. You can take the same piece of wire, not that this is antenna grade wire, and bend it different ways. It'll have different gain. I could actually take this and bend it into a dipole antenna. A real dipole antenna for HF is a lot bigger. Dipole antenna, have a ground, suspend it off of the ground, or I could actually take it, and this is called a loop Yagi. It goes from larger to smaller, and you have a reflector back here, and you have a driver here in the midsection. This is kind of crude. This is the same piece of wire. I could bend this a lot of different ways, and it will have gain with different frequencies. Also, too, by clipping it, I actually make it sympathetic resonance to a different harmonic. This particular, there's a coil inside underneath this vinyl. It's not rubber, it's vinyl. Underneath this vinyl, there's just a simple piece of coil, and it's cut to the mean frequency for 2 meter. 2 meter is 144 megahertz to 148 megahertz. It's cut for the midsection there, so it's best for gain for both receiving and transmitting in that spectrum. And there's also, too, a second coil of wire around this longer coil of wire that's bent so that it's sympathetic resonance for the 440 to 444 megahertz range for transmission and reception. Same piece of wire, bent and cut to different lengths. The interconnectivity, and by the way, of course, everything and every field is an ether perturbation modality. As you think, so shall you become is an ancient saying, but it has to do with sympathetic resonance and what we think and how we actually manifest to make our lives. Have you ever wondered why? And there's a simple answer to this. You know, ignorance is bliss until it, of course, eventually bites you, and it always does. But you ever wonder how some of the least intelligent, I can think of a billionaire, I'm not going to name him, like the least intelligent people imaginable. By the way, and this actually ties into that, let me first say this. I'd never ever have praised intellect or IQ. You show me a person that is incredibly intelligent, and I'll show you a person that's incredibly miserable. And misery compounds on top of misery. People that have just enough intellect that they think positively, and this sounds so crazy. Well, you just have to be positive. Oh, give me a break. Thinking positive is not going to do anything. From the perspective of nearly 100% of this world that grew up in believing relativity, which is atomism, relativity and quantum is, not my opinion, a fact, is atomism. There is no interconnectivity in how you think. There's no interconnectivity between me and you. There isn't any. But that's completely false. In an ether universe, interconnectivity is everything. Nikola Tesla told you the secrets of the universe were energy, frequency, and vibration. Of course, to say frequency and vibration is the same thing. Waves is, of course, a frequency. A vibration, of course, is a modulation. Well, a modulation has to be sympathetic to something. Misery compounds misery. Anyway, getting back to this, and he's just one example of countless. Well, how did this person do so well in life? Everything is going well for them. That thinking positive, whether it be consciously forced or whether it be unconscious nature, it's kind of like an animal. Like the animal doesn't have any money. You know, the animal doesn't, have a roof over its head, and yet it lives simply and purely, and, you know, things come to it as long as it actually does its job to forage for its food and make little babies of whatever that animal is. It lives a productive, happy lifestyle. How can me, someone so intelligent, I'm talking about myself, because, and I'm not, of course, an anti-intellectual, I'm just saying a person that's incredibly intelligent is always miserable if they don't have any wisdom. Intelligence breeds misery. Wisdom brings peace. But without that wisdom, sheerly sympathetic resonance to superior thoughts, and superior thoughts I mean constructive thoughts. Positive thinking, of course, is, I've always, my entire life, I've rolled my eyes at positive thinking, and thinking doesn't get it. The reason why, by the way, prayer is a form of manifesting is that people that believe in it, now the craziness, of course, of prayer vis-a-vis Abrahamic religions is that they will tell you that it's only working, the tyrants, because you're praying to a specific God. You know, that God's not going to answer your prayers, but, you know, the God of this religion will answer your prayers. Well, it's not any God of any religion. It's sympathetic resonance in prayer. Does prayer work? Yes, it does. Well, how does it work? It works because the ether is connected at every level to everything. All matter is super high energy light. All matter is compounded hydrogen. I've said this a million times. You and I, the psychophysical you and I, of course, are matter. Our spirit, of course, is a completely different entity. And when I get into discussion of that, this video would be 4 times as long in talking about the composition of the soul. Not that it's composed of anything, so I shouldn't use the word composition. For the interconnectivity of everything, if you reject the atomism of quantum and relativity, which is atomism, it's materialistic garbage, then you have to accept the only other foundation that's ever been posited, which is the ether. Oftentimes, and this is the reason why the oracles, and I've given you countless examples in prior videos of the oracles that would manifest prognostication. And I've read some of the oracles, and you know they're lofty and sometimes they're hard to decipher, but there's a reason why they soaked in mineral water. There's a reason why, you know, people get inspired in the shower. I'm going to confess something, I don't care what you think, but at least I'm telling you the truth. I oftentimes, completely 100% out of the blue, will get divinely inspired, and I do mean divinely inspired, in the shower or the rare times that I take a bath. I take 2 showers a day, by the way. I want anybody to think I'm dirty or stinky. And I'll get divinely inspired. The most prolific inventor, I forget, he's a Japanese guy, he recently died. He'd swim like half the day. He'd wake up and he has these notepads on the side of this gigantic pool. He just swim and swim and swim. He soaked himself in the water, and the only way he actually got ideas for his inventions was he was in the water. Everything is about signal gain. Your body is mostly water. When you surround your body with more water, I mean, this is true. People sing in the shower, they get inspired in the shower. There's a whole ancient Greek mythology behind water and inspiration, and the muses, Belite and Meneme and Eoria, inspiring people in the water. There's a reason why the oracles were soaking in the water. There's a reason why the Egyptian priests, there's chronicles of this, you could find them, type in Egyptian priests in the water. You see a thread here? By the way, that particular geometry, the 108, 36, 36-degree triangle, which is this is the same shape as the water molecule, is what the ancient Pythagoreans said, and they didn't just say it, it's true. It's the only perfect geometry in the entire universe. Perfect incommensurability, 1:1 the incommensurable cut, 1/phi, which is a holographic representation, and the golden ratio. People love to say golden ratio. What does the golden ratio mean? I don't know, it's beauty. Well, that's descriptively accurate, but it's not explicative. I mean, it doesn't explain anything. It means it is the perfect harmonic ratio to the 1, because phi is to 1 as 1 is to phi. That's a mathematical statement that is absolute and undeniable. We have this fake network, of course this computer is hooked up to the network, so is my iPad hooked up to the network, that we have to pay for connectivity, the internet. Nature's network is the ether itself. I grew up in an early age, even though I knew better, because I knew everything I was being taught was garbage, that there is a natural network that if we tie into it, instead of being so thick-skulled and so pig-headed, which basically everybody is, oh, that sounds like New Age woo-woo, positive thinking. Nonsense. You're crazy. That's New Age woo-woo. It's not. There's a lot of New Age woo-woo that I'll never agree with. But sympathetic resonance and the interconnectivity of everything at the level of the ether is true. What do you think? Edgar Cayce called it the Akashic Records. It goes by a lot of different names, what the oracles tapped into, the oracles of Delphi. Prayer as manifesting does work, but you can't just utter the word, I'm going to utter the prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep, blah, 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 blah. You're just uttering the words like a machine. A genuine prayer is 1,000% exactly the same thing. A genuine prayer, where you genuinely put it out there, of manifestation. We get what we put out there. That's a very, very old statement. But have you ever thought what it means to say, you get what you put out? Well, they say what goes around comes around. People also, too, unfortunately, they work for large companies. I've talked about this endlessly. They will actually summon a standard or an icon. This is true idolatry. In our materialistic, I work for company ABC or XYZ, whatever the company is, and I support that. That's the standard. It's just an idol that people work for and pray to. I don't pray to my company. Yeah, you do. You don't call it prayer, but you're completely tied at the hip to it. You're worried about what it will do or not do to you. You're an idol worshiper. By every definition and every standard, you are an idol worshiper. I don't care if I end up homeless. I'm never going to work for another company again. 99% I work for myself. Knowing this, I see the misery of like the Gen Zers out there, which they're way, way, way miserable. They think they're isolated. They believe in atomism. They don't think that there's any connectivity between themselves and other people or the universe at large. Natura naturans, I don't care what you call it. This non-atomistic universe that's completely connected at every level. And it's undeniable. It's rational, it's logical, it's undeniable. Connected at absolutely every level. I created that holographic electroculture antenna. Very brilliant design of mine. That's in the description below. You know how many people made those? Like, I'm not selling this. Make it. Here's how you make it. Boom, boom, boom. Really simple. Bent piece of copper. People looked at it. You just take a board, you put some nails in at these points, and you bend the wire around the nails. There you got it. Make another one. Once you got the nails in the board, it takes you less than 3 minutes to make one. You know how many people use those and had outrageous results? People, it doesn't work. It does work. The magnetic seed exposure experiment that I've been talking about for countless years. Oh, there's no way this works. He's not selling anything. It'd be easy for me to try. All I have to do is take one of these. Oh, this is a really powerful sucker. I don't want to get it close to the camera. One of these 2x2 by 1 inch neodymium magnets. Find the South Pole, put my seeds around the centrifugal edge, and then I'll have basically magic seeds, kind of like Jack and the Beanstalk, kind of, oh God, that magnet's powerful. It's really easy to pinch yourself. Thousands of people have done that. A magnet, by the way, is not emitting magnetism. It is warping the ether around it in sympathetic resonance to the fact that a magnet is a point source object. That magnet at the basis level, I'm not saying it's the same as you and me, which are composed of matter and spirit, and the third thing which makes it possible, that being water, but that magnet is identical to us in of the sense, perfectly so, is that as a point source object, it is manifesting a coherent field of the ether around it. A magnet is not emitting anything. A magnet's emitting magnetism. No, it's not. Now, if you're an atomist, and you could look this up, they will tell you, the folks of quantum and real, a magnet is emitting virtual photons. Look that up. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? Well, it is crazy, of course. A magnet is emitting virtual photons. Completely Jabberwocky poppycock. That point source object is shaping the ether, not that it has a will. We could say it figuratively, to its will as a point source object. You and I can do the exact same thing. We're not bending the ether around us like the magnet, but we are by sympathetic resonance into what we manifest. Superficially, that sounds like New Age Jabberwocky, you know, little craziness. It's not. It's rational. It's logical. It is fully in line with what every Advaita Vedanta, the Upanishads, the Vedas, Plotinus, Numenius, Irenaeus, Damascius, Proclus, Pythagoras, the Pitaphesian, De Divina Proportione, Theoria Philosophiae Naturalis, Nikola Tesla's favorite book, Borodor Boscovich, constructive and destructive interference. We influence each other without even, you know, laying hand on anybody. You know what a zeitgeist is? Everybody's been talking about this, the whole world, because of the craziness of the past few years. There's this zeitgeist or global ethos. Well, why is there that? Because interconnectivity is real. We weren't taught any of this. So like Emoto. I know someone's going to mention Emoto. Type in Emoto water. I've got his books. He talked kindly to the water, and then he'd pour the water that he talked kindly to the plants, an identical plant. You know, he would play like death metal to it and yell at the water and scream at the water, and he'd pour that on the plants would wither and perish. There is no memory in water, just as there is no signal in this frigging antenna. People say, well, where's the memory at? You said water is the basis of consciousness. Well, it is. But there is no memory in the water. It is in the sympathetic resonance of the geometry, the holographic geometry of the water, no different than this antenna. There's no signal in this antenna. There's no memory in water. But I thought you said there was memory in water. I did. But not in the actual hydrogen and oxygen atoms themselves or the molecular structure of water. I mean, you know, anywhere like, well, is it here? Is it here? It's over here. This hydrogen atom, that one. No. This incommensurable structure is the only thing that makes life possible. By the way, this is mentioned, not regarding water, in Timaeus 23 or 52D or 23D, the Timaeus, which is super ancient, far older than that of Plato. Plato didn't write that. It's a really old stuff, like the Parmenides and part of the Republic are. He said you can't join two things without a third. Well, that third thing is water. You have matter here and spirit here. Because without water, a person is just a pile of dust. Undeniable. My wife's ashes in her back room back there is just a box of dust. Looks like vacuum, you know, what you pull out of your vacuum cleaner. Dust. Water is required. Well, there's no memory in the water. The holographic impression of the ether relational to our consciousness between the matter and spirit and the water that makes existential consciousness possible means necessitatively so by retroductive analysis 100% undeniably that everything is connected. Well, if everything is connected, then also too additionally retroductively we can conclude that we can make our own reality. We can heal ourselves, we can manifest. But none of us were taught that, and that's part of the prison shock of the mind prison that we've all been brainwashed into. And that is undeniable. And if I'm lying in this video, may I drop, you know, completely stone cold, you know, where I stand, where I sit actually right now. Yeah, look up Emoto's works on water. He did a lot of amazing experiments with water. This is all simplex sympathetic resonance, destructive interference and constructive interference. It's not New Age babble. It's rational and logical, and it is 100% undeniable. To accept the ether and the implications of the ether is to improve our lives. The other way has done nothing but make people miserable, unhappy, disconnected. Well, you're connected, but that doesn't matter. If they think they're disconnected, then they will reinforce the fact that they're disconnected, alone, from everything. That's a fact. You can't deny that. It's undeniable. People will, of their own accord, reinforce the things that they're taught to believe in. Call that brainwashing. I hope you like these videos. I have a lot of free content, including on Substack. I hope you like it. Any donation is always warmly welcome. I've had a really, really rough day with a lot of work. That's why I'm slightly hoarse from being outside in the teen temperature air for like 4.5 hours. It didn't do me any good. But I'm happy to make this video. I like this video a lot, which means nobody will watch it. The videos that I really like, nobody watches. Seems that way anyway. Thank you so very much. I wish you the best. Try manifesting, like I said. Just like 18 seconds, 2 or 3 times a day, a positive thought of something that you want, as long as it's not extreme. I want a date with Cindy Crawford. That's not going to happen. It has to be at least within the realm of possibility. By the way, here's a story before I go. I was looking for my tooth flosser up in the cabinet. This is true. If I'm lying, I'm dying. I couldn't find it anywhere. I was looking for my tooth floss. It's on a long stick, and it's got a little U-shaped thing with some dental floss between it. I couldn't find it anywhere. I had the cabinet open, and then I was looking down for my toothpaste. Like, well, I can't find them with my tooth. I kid you not, the tooth flosser thing jumped out, hit me in the face, and then fell into the sink. It jumped out. Hey, was that me, or was that some other entity? Maybe I shouldn't have told that story, but it's 100% true. I was like, wow, it's amazing. I was looking everywhere for it. Like, where is it? Where is it? And it's not cluttered. I can see everything. I look down. My hands are down here. The bathroom cabinet thing is open, the mirrored thing with the 3 shelves on it. I'm down here grabbing the toothpaste and the toothbrush. It jumps out and hits me in the face and then falls into the sink. There it is. That's pretty good, isn't it? True story. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.